We have this story from Salon.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Jon Stewart is back, and the left is really angry. They called him a danger to our democracy. I absolutely love it. Jon Stewart mocks critics, deeming his Daily Show return a potential disaster for democracy. Why? In his opening segment, when he comes back, he lightly jabs at Trump passively, but the whole thing is dedicated to Joe Biden being completely incapable. He does mention Trump is old too, but with a special focus on Joe Biden. He's got a new show out as of yesterday, and he ribs on Tucker Carlson quite a bit, which I believe is rather poorly done. I'm not gonna tell him his show's a danger for our democracy, but boy, does he still absolutely roast Democrats. He highlights like Keith Olbermann. Look at this. Olbermann says, after 9 years away, there's nothing else to say to the both sides-ist fraud Jon Stewart bashing Biden, except please make it another 9 years. I watched and I saw Jon Stewart say things that were incorrect or just like really poorly written about Tucker Carlson, and some that were really funny. And I said, by all means, John, welcome to the conversation. Please keep talking, and I will use your show as a launching point to debate the ideas. When these people called out Jon Stewart says on his show, it's as the old saying goes, democracy dies in discussion. Absolutely roasting the left for refusing to engage in a conversation about what's happening in this country. Yeah. He then does go on to do some form of like pathetic mea culpa where he's like, but let me make fun of Tucker Carlson for you guys. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of very poorly done. Like there's one point of the show where he's like, how would you show me how to submit to fealty, Tucker? And then it shows Vladimir Putin say, after World War I, Danzig was not restored to Germany, but it became the city of Dansk in Poland. When Hitler said he wanted it back, Poland said no. Hitler then invaded. And Tucker goes, of course. Jon Stewart then freezes frame and says, of course. And then everyone starts busting out laughing as if that was not a statement of fact. It's just the weirdest thing. Stewart claimed that what Putin said was Poland was at fault for starting World War II. When the clip they showed was Putin saying the Treaty of Versailles gave Danzig to Poland as a free state. Poland asserted control over it, calling it Dansk. Germany said it's historically German, give it back. Poland said no. Hitler said, I declare war. It's very, like, much more complicated than that. But it's in, like, the Holocaust Museum. I pulled up the articles, like, is this, what is Jon Stewart ragging on him for? But outside of that, what I can say right now is, guys, let's take Jon Stewart. I say we just, John, welcome to the club. You're allowed to have bad ideas. You're allowed to be wrong. We're all wrong. Let's have a discussion, and then you can go on your show and talk about how crazy these crackpot Democrats are.
Yeah. Excuse me. Jon Stewart is the fact that Jon Stewart is poking at Donald Trump a little bit, but like really going after Joe Biden. It's reflective of the fact that like Joe Biden is the president. Like Donald Trump may be running, but he's not currently in a position of authority at all in the government. It makes sense that you would go after the people that are actually in power, first of all. Second of all, it is abundantly clear to everyone that will even look that Joe Biden is entirely incompetent to be incapable of being the president and actually doing the job himself.
What's crazy is that Stewart's like a 70%er. I mean, he's with them 70% across the board. Now, I call him a true liberal, you know what I mean, a Bill Maher type. But like, what I'm saying is, he's only off script a little bit, and they do not allow that. No. They do not allow that.
There's a meme I saw, it was pretty good, and it was a bunch of blue people, and there was a blue guy, and he was like, I agree with all of these things, and so I get these badges, and it shows all these different causes. And the next one is him going, maybe that one I'm not so sure about, and said child sex changes, and then they were all like fascist, white supremacist, and they taking all your badges away from you. It's like you deviate. It's a cult. Like I saw the serfs, our good friend Lance was ragging on someone because they saw a bunch of pride flags in like a Walmart, like in some department store with some big box store with like a grill, and they were like, all I want is food, like for heaven's sake. And I'm like, dude, in Frederick, Maryland, they're flying a pride flag at City Hall. Like that is a flag of an ideology. Now, if there's a historical American flag like the Gadsden flag, I'd be like, oh, whatever, I guess. That's like a state flag for Virginia. I think it's their license plate, so I get it. But a rainbow progress pride flag, they even have in one store an eagle on it. I'm like, it's a cult. And they're flying the flag of a cult. If they were flying a flag of like Islam or any other religion or Christianity, I'd also be like, it's kind of weird that they're doing that. They've basically found a way to fly a religious flag while arguing it's not a religious flag.
100%. Right. It's a religious flag. And the reason why you can't step out of line a little bit is because I don't know of any religion that's like God says a little sin is fine. Right, like it's like if you step out of line at all, like sin is sin to most gods that I've ever heard of. Like usually it's like either if you sin, it's like all the sins are bad and they're equally bad. So to step out of line at all as a progressive or whatever, you're offending the religion. You're stepping out of line. It's unacceptable.
There are venial and mortal sins. I believe it's Catholicism. I could be wrong. It's in some form of Christianity. Venial sins are like, oh, I lied to my neighbor, whereas a mortal sin was like, ooh, I had sex with my neighbor's wife. The worst.
I know there's
meat on
definitely
Friday.
passages that say that to God sin is sin. I know for a fact. That the way the Christians look at sin, they say God says sin is sin. There's only one sin that they won't, or that I think Catholics that God doesn't forgive. I think forgive, and that's blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. I think, but I know the Christians are like sin is sin. They don't care, or God doesn't care.
Venial's Roman Catholic. The part that kills me is their religion is defeating Donald Trump and keeping power, right? And so this is why the 70%ers don't work. Because if that 30% is going to help Donald Trump, or let's say hurt Joe Biden, to them, that is the cardinal sin, right? That is, you are going against, look at everything we've built. Look at everything that our code says we have to do. You're now not with us. So get in line and sit down and shut up. And I just think that I mean, it's refreshing. I mean, I hate that I have to like compliment Jon Stewart, but you do. Like, we have to compliment these people because everybody else is just in lockstep.
No, but so look, I did a long segment. It was like 40 minutes where I talked about this. I pushed back and I criticized Jon Stewart. The difference between the modern version of the left, they won't do interviews. They say that Jon Stewart is a disaster for our democracy. He should go away for 9 years. No more shows. How dare you offend us? And then whatever our side is, you saying you don't like him, you don't want to defend him, but okay, you will. Me, I'll say I think he's funny. His jokes about Tucker were funny, but the underlying premises were bad. And so I'm like, the thing that really got me is he calls Tucker a liar who says he's lying about what he does. And I'm like, John, you do exactly what you're accusing him of doing. You're producing a show that operates under the guise that it's just comedy. It's not real news, when in fact you are creating jokes under the premise of the underlying concept is true, and now we will mock the concept. It is a manipulative tactic. I have no problem with it. I have a problem with people being wrong and lying to people, but John's allowed to be wrong. I'll just correct him. But this is what The Daily Show has always been. Here is thing that's true. It's so silly, like joke. Insert joke here. And then everyone laughs. John Oliver does it. The premise is when he says Tucker Carlson is lying about his job, the joke is how he's presenting it. Haha, Tucker Carlson said a thing, and he's teaching me now to lie about what I do. Underlying premise, we all know that Tucker's a liar. This is how they program people. Mm-hmm. He is doing what he's accusing Tucker of doing. And you know what? That's fine. We will have that debate. But you know what? There are a lot of people that I think are good people that are economically on the left. Jimmy Dore is obviously a great person. He's rad. He's an anti-establishment guy, but he's an economic leftist. I think Kyle Kalinski's an honest guy. I think Crystal Ball is very honest. I just think they're wrong about a lot of things. And that's absolutely okay. And we'll have those debates. And they're not scared to go to other people's shows and have those debates. Jon Stewart, I think, will also, but I'm not so convinced. We'll see. I'd love to get Jon Stewart on the culture war and actually have that conversation with him and see what he really thinks about all these issues. And I think it'd be fascinating. I think he'd be willing to do those interviews. I don't know that I'd be able to have the pull to get him on a show, but I think he's the kind of guy who'd be more willing to do it than most other people on the left.
Agreed.
Yeah, I guess you would consider him on the left. He's really kind of middle of the road, dude.
Bro, he used to be the liberals' liberal.
Right.
But he was anti-war. He was like really.
They all were.
Yeah, it was George Bush, dude.
Do you think that the left is
Stephen Colbert was all about the war. He was joking, but he would constantly say how great it was.
Are you of the opinion that the left is anti-war and the right is pro-war still?
No.
So then,
Okay, so Jon Stewart The show comes out in the 2000s.
To be honest, I don't understand his economic politics, so it's not fair for me to claim.
Liberals,
Because left
liberal.
and right are kind of economic.
Jon Stewart is a liberal's liberal and would always he would present his show as we are the rational, reasonable people, and look how absurd these Republicans are. And that was 70%, right? 60, 70% of the time, it was just overtly right-wing bad. But sometimes he would say, like, he praised James O'Keefe several times, and he mocked journalists. This is the clever way you manipulate. Hey, I'm a reasonable guy. Bill Maher does something similar, but I think Bill Maher knows that he's saying things that are not true because the logical gaps just don't make sense.
Right.
I think Bill knows what he's doing. I think Jon Stewart's just better at it. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.